Independent Senator Fatima Payman has given the skibidiest speech Parliament has ever heard, but there's been some mixed reactions. Here's Joe.
To the Sigmas of Australia, I say that this goofy-air government have been capping.
This is not a deepfake. This is legitimately Senator Fatima Payman roasting the government using phrases that have never been recorded in Parliament before.
They're capaholics. They're also yapaholics. Chat, is this Prime Minister serious? Sometimes it feels like he's the CEO of Ohio.
It's not the first time we've heard this slang though. Just the day before, Energy Minister Chris Bowen dropped a cheeky demure in the House of Representatives.
More mindful and more demure, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Payman says that her speech was to help connect with and engage young people in politics.
There'll be no phantom tax under the government I lead.
But does it work? Or is it just cringe?
To the Sigmas of Australia, I say that this goofy-air government have been capping.
Honestly, it's a good marketing strategy.
It's getting us watching it, so a bit strange.
I thought it was AI.
Cringe.
Cringe. Cringe.
Very cringe. Cringe, absolutely.
Lost me completely.
Yeah.
There's no use to it. There's no point in doing it.
Yeah, they should not do it, no.
I think it's cringe, but I think it does get the word across.
Time, where we watch that and we're like, oh, that's funny.
A little bit condescending, maybe.
I think they should actually focus on making policy that engages young people.
I think it's dismissive and not representative of us as a generation. We're not stupid.
Skibidi.
Well, it looks like Wednesday's presidential debate was the last debate we'll see between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris before Election Day. The polls say Vice-President Kamala Harris won their last clash, but both candidates claim victory. Ms. Harris was keen to battle it out again.
I believe we owe it to the voters to have another debate.
But Donald Trump had different ideas.
So because we've done 2 debates and because they were successful, there will be no third debate.
2 Americans on board the SpaceX Polaris Dawn mission have just completed the first ever spacewalk by civilians. Here's Michelle to tell us all about it.
2 days ago, SpaceX's Polaris Dawn took off with 4 passengers on board. The mission? To complete the first spacewalk for non-professional astronauts.
So this is pretty ambitious. It's one of the most risky things that you can do in spaceflight, exposing a human to the vacuum of outer space where many things can go wrong.
And this morning, as mission commander, tech entrepreneur and billionaire Jared Isaacman climbed out of the spacecraft 740 kilometres away from Earth, he made history.
Back at home, we all have a lot of work to do, but from here, Earth sure looks like a perfect world.
It's a good thing Isaacman enjoyed the view from up there, because according to some sources, he paid almost $300 million for the trip. The mission was also about testing out new technology, like spacesuits designed by SpaceX. And many are hoping that this mission will help us understand more about what we need to explore our orbit and beyond. Now it's time for a part of the show I like to call That's One Way to Make an Impression.
Yeah, that was pretty good. First up to the 34th Ig Nobel Prizes, which are kind of like the famous Nobel Prize, except for weird things. For example, this year's prize for physiology went to research looking into whether mammals can breathe through their bums in an emergency. And the prize for anatomy went to a study looking into whether hair swells differently depending on whether you live in the northern or southern hemisphere. There were also musical acts and a part of the ceremony where everyone got to throw paper planes. Man, that looks pretty fun. Now to a sports car made out of Lego. It's a life-size replica of the car driven by British F1 star Lando Norris, so it was only fitting for him to take it out on the track for a spin. It took 23 people more than 8,000 hours to put it together, and it's the first of its kind to be able to turn corners and complete an entire lap of a race circuit. And finally, to Buckingham Palace, where King Charles has just met New Zealand's women's rugby team, and they had one special request. Yep, it quickly became a royal pylon, but at the centre of it all, the King was beaming. Well, that's all from us this week. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday. Bye.